My basic premise is that we're a culture that's stuck in fast forward, trying to do everything more and more quickly, and that this is backfiring on us. I'm not an extremist. I'm not against speed. I love speed, right? It's good to go fast. This slow philosophy with a capital S is about doing things at the right speed. So knowing when to go fast and when to go slow. And when you get that balance right, when you reconnect with your inner tortoise, if you like, then you can eat better, make love better, raise your children better, work better. You know, you're a better person leading a better life.
And that must resonate immediately with people, because I'm sitting here listening to, and it does with me, because everything is, it's like Douglas Rushkoff said, you know, or digiphrenia and fractanoia, all these terms he came up with in his most recent book. And he's talking about everything's on all the time and everything's important all the time, and that's what you're talking about, how to cut through that.
Very true. I think that this message of slowing down resonates with everyone nowadays, because we're all caught up in the same frenzy, the same carousel of quick fixes, the same endless merry-go-round of distraction and stimulation, and we can all feel in our bones that we're going too fast, that we're skimming the surface of things rather than getting in deeply, that we're racing through our lives instead of living them.
Can you give an example of in the workplace? Because I imagine, you know, some managers might be going, you can't do anything slow. It's all about speed and efficiency and fast and do more and all that. How does this connect to the work environment?
I think we wind ourselves up into believing this myth that there's no time in the workplace, that we have no time for a slow fix, we've got no time to listen, we've just got to get it out the door as fast as possible. But we always have time later on, don't we? We always have the money later on to pick up the pieces when the quick fix of today blows up in our faces down the road. And what I'm saying is, why don't we just reverse that equation and invest the time, the energy, and the resources now to slow things down a bit, to listen to coworkers, to build trust, build relationships, all that stuff that will deliver better workplaces, will deliver better creativity, better ideas, so that we have a better payoff in the medium and the long term.
So it's I'm hearing maybe some quality over quantity stuff in there, and also I think about, you know, the whole simple movement, simplifying some things. I mean, is there some correlation to that as well?
If you draw a Venn diagram, in the middle there's an overlap with democracy and freedom in the workplace, the kind of simplicity movements, making things more simple, slow or flow, people will talk about it. It's really boiling down to the same thing, which is living and acting in a human way, you know, making those deep connections, being present, being mindful, doing things as well as possible instead of as fast as possible.
Is some of it about, it's qualitative decisions and choices about what I'm doing with my time too, because everybody's so busy, but does everybody really need to check their phone every 45 seconds, right?
No, well, this is part of the problem, is that we have such a neurotic relationship with time now that we're constantly trying to squeeze more and more into less and less time, and that puts us into the quantity before quality ratio. And slow is about reversing that and saying, okay, maybe we do fewer things, but the things we do, we give them our full attention, we get maximum pleasure from them, and we do them as well as possible. So it's about putting quality in the driving seat and putting quantity to one side.
Are there any studies that you cite in your book about how this really actually comes down to a frantic all the time is a significant loss in creativity and productivity?
Well, we know from the latest neuroscience that when we are in a relaxed state, we're feeling mellow and we're not rushed, we're not under too much time pressure, the brain waves move around in the head in more rich, more nuanced patterns, and we get that creative eureka breakthrough thinking. And we all know that from experience. You know, our best ideas seldom come when we're juggling 9 emails or racing to meet a deadline with a boss breathing down our neck. They come when we're soaking in the bath, you know, or walking the dog in the park. And psychologists actually call that slow thinking.
What kind of reaction are you getting from business leaders?
Well, when I first started writing about this subject, I thought that it would be carnage, you know, from the business community. It would be blood on the floor. But right from the moment my first book, In Praise of Slowness, came out, it was the opposite. I was hearing from the type A corporate warriors, people who are on the front line who realize, they know every day they live this, they know that there's too much speed in the system, that they don't have time to reflect, they're only reacting, they don't have time to think deeply, they're just skimming the surface. And so it's the people who maybe 15, 20 years ago perhaps weren't moving so fast, who are now, when it comes to speed, have reached the stage of diminishing returns. So it's CEOs, it's consultants, it's the people who are the fastest, who are saying, I need this. This has an echo in my own life. How can I personally start to bring this slow philosophy to bear in my own existence? How can I find my own inner tortoise? I think that we're on the cusp of a cultural revolution in the way that we run our society and our culture, but also our companies and our organizations. And we're moving away from that top-down, command and control, fear-based model to something more fluid, something where the world is flat, something that takes stock of people not as widgets or as automatons or as numbers, but as people. You know, a more holistic vision, understanding that an employee is somebody who has a home life, who has health, who has their own natural metronome, their own pace for doing things. And it's about trying to bring all those pieces together in the workplace so that we can live happier, healthier, but also more productive lives. These things all go hand in hand.